Welcome back to the Pylon YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to do our first ever Pickems. And if you don't know what a Pickem is basically I post polls on either Instagram or Twitter, and you, the fans, pick your favorite teams to win for this week. Which matchups you think who's going to win and who will basically beat the other team, and I make my picks, and we see who is right each week. We're going to keep a tally of the fans, which is you guys, versus one Mikey boy, which is me, and we're going to see who is more right at the end of the season. So we are starting at week 3. We were supposed to start last week at week 2, but I was dying of COVID. So without further ado, let's get into our first matchup. First matchup of the week, Thursday night, September 23rd at 8:30. We have the 2-0 Carolina Panthers versus the 1-1 Houston Texans. I think that this is going to be a pretty lopsided game. I think the Panthers are going to defeat the Texans pretty handily. If Tyrod Taylor was playing, I would say that this game would be different, because for whatever reason, Tyrod Taylor woke up this year and was like, all right, I'm going to play the best football ever. And was playing really well. He's playing really good football. He scored 30 points on the Jaguars and kept them in that game against the Browns until he went out. And now, rookie quarterback Davis Mills is stepping in and taking the reins for the Houston Texans. Davis Mills is someone who I have my eye on because he's a very interesting story to me. Davis Mills was a first-round prospect at one point during this draft season. He has a pretty bad injury history, which is why he fell in the draft. But I think, and this is the other thing, if you look at the quarterbacks who backed up Tyrod Taylor and then came in to start, they've all panned out pretty nicely. Baker Mayfield, he's not bad. I'm not going to say he's bad, but he did back up Tyrod Taylor on the Browns. And then Justin Herbert, and there's one more, but I'm forgetting off the top of my head. So the fans, as in you guys, it was a pretty close vote. Just kidding. It was a pretty wide majority that the fans are siding with the Panthers. I, too, will be siding with the Panthers in this contest. Next game. First game of the 1 o'clock slate we're going to talk through, Sunday, September 26th. The Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. I think the fans voted for the Titans. And I would agree with the fans on this one. I think the Titans are going to win this game pretty handily. Unfortunately, this week in the NFL, it's pretty one-sided contests, to be completely honest with you. But I do have my eye on a few of them. I have my upset picks that I think there's a good chance that they come to fruition. But we'll get to them when we get to them. But this game, Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts, it's still in the air if Carson Wentz is going to play this game for the Indianapolis Colts. I think that the Colts, they're definitely a better team with Carson Wentz. That's not what I'm thinking about. I just think that the Colts really don't do anything special. They have a very average defense. They rank 16th through 18th in basically every defensive category, according to Yahoo Sports Stats. So if you don't know how to use Yahoo, you should definitely check it out. Yahoo Sports Stats does a very good job of breaking down team stats, which is a lot of what I look at when I'm viewing like how good or bad a team actually is. And then I also have to take into account who they played and where their stats are coming from, if they're skewed or not. But the Titans have a very good passing offense and a very good rushing attack. Their defense is still pretty bad, but I don't think it's going to matter in this game because the Colts offense stinks. They really don't do anything well. Michael Pittman had a great game last week. He had 123 receiving yards. But even with Carson Wentz, I don't think he'll be able to keep pace with Derrick Henry and this Titans team. Ryan Tannehill is playing some of the worst football of his life. Like, even if you go back to the Adam Gase Miami days, and he's just being carried by Derrick Henry, and that's all they need to do. Derrick Henry had 41 touches in week 2. 41 touches. 35 rushing attempts, 6 receptions. That's to put it in perspective. Dak Prescott had the highest passing attempts in a single game in 2020 at 44. Derrick Henry, as a running back, touched the ball 41 times. in their contest against the Seattle Seahawks. I'll be siding with the Titans. The fans, you guys, also sided with the Titans. So as of right now, we are both on the same page of 2 for 2. This one was a very close vote, but how the system works is by the majority. The majority vote is which team the fans side for. And a couple of you mouth breathers out there wanted pick the Atlanta Falcons to win this game. And that is just... I mean, how would the Atlanta Falcons win this game? Explain that to me. Because you could be the biggest Giant hater in the world. How do the Atlanta Falcons win this game? Matt Ryan's arm is disintegrated. It disintegrated overnight. Kyle Pitts is still coming into his own. And the Giants did have the 9th overall defense at the back end of 2020. It's gone missing. But James Bradbury has spent most of his career. He started his career in the NFC South with on the Carolina Panthers. And he's played against Calvin Ridley. He's played against Julio Jones. He's played against Michael Thomas. He's played against all these guys multiple times for multiple years. There's just no way the Atlanta Falcons win this game. They have the 24th ranked defense, passing defense. They have the 24th ranked rushing defense and the 19th ranked passing defense. Their defense is absolutely abysmal. Their offense is close to worse. They put up 3 points against the Philadelphia Eagles and 28 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Giants put up 29 points against the Washington football team, and their offense is clicking. I just don't think this game is going to be close. I think that being that this is an absolute must-win game for the Giants if they want to keep their season alive and they want to somehow try to regain control of the NFC East, they cannot limit Saquon in this game. There's no going. If they lose this game, it's over. So it's Eli Manning Day. They're retiring Eli Manning's jersey into the Ring of Honor. There's just too much added factors going into this game. The Giants need to win. I think that the Falcons, even if they pulled out all the stops and threw everything they possibly could at the New York Giants, they've been doing that the past 2 weeks. The Giants still have yet to see Kadarius Toney take the field in a meaningful role. They have yet to see Kenny Golladay get more involved in the offense. And they've been limiting Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones has been the most consistent factor in this Giants offense. And I'm just reading numbers to you. This sentence that is about to come out of my mouth is based purely off the numbers from week 1 and 2. Daniel Jones is playing as a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. And that's crazy. It's a crazy sentence to even say, but it is the truth. It is just based off of numbers. This matchup where he played against the best secondary football in Denver, and he played one of a top 10 defense in Washington. Why would Atlanta slow him down at all? So thankfully, the fans sided with the Giants. I'm siding with the Giants too. I think this is a game where the Giants, I think, are the first. They're favorited by 3. And this is the first game they're favorited to win in like a very long time. But next game, we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers. So all of these games, I should have said this at the beginning, the top team is playing at the bottom team. So it's Los Angeles Chargers at Arrowhead against the Chiefs. So the fans pretty unanimously sided. I think it was like 91% Chiefs, 9% Chargers. This game, I think, is actually going to be a lot closer than people think. This is not one of the games where I'm picking an upset. I think that the Chiefs are going to win this game. But a lot of people don't know that the Chiefs have the 32nd ranked defense in the entire NFL. They actually have the worst defense in the NFL. As of right now, I don't think that'll stand throughout the course of the season. But as of week 3, the Chiefs do have the worst defense in the NFL. This is going to be a very high-scoring game. Later today on Instagram, if you follow Pylon on Instagram, we're releasing our locks for the week. We didn't do it in the podcast episode this morning. But this is a game where I'm betting the over almost 100% because I have to see what the line is. But this is going to be a shootout of a game. And the reason why is the Chargers' defense is okay, but they're good enough to stop the Cowboys or hold the Cowboys to 17 points. A lot of that was because Dak Prescott really struggled in that game, and I think Patrick Mahomes isn't going to have the same struggles as Dak did. But But the Chiefs' defense is so bad that Justin Herbert in this offense with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler, it should be firing on all cylinders. They should catch their stride. This is going to be a close game, but I would anticipate it being over 60 points. I know that's a lot of points to score, but with how bad this Chiefs defense is, but conversely how amazing their offense is, I think that this is going to be 55, 60 points. I'm going Chiefs. The fans took the Chiefs. So as of through the first 4 games, we have the same picks. So let's see. Okay, this is the first game where I'm predicting an upset. I think it can happen. So the Steelers just lost to the Raiders. So it's Bengals at Pittsburgh. So they're playing at Heinz Field. Here's the thing. This is going to be a very volatile game because as of right now, at 4:30 on September 23rd, Big Ben is slated to play. He is dealing with a pec injury. And if he does not play the full duration of the game, Dwayne Haskins will play the game. Dwayne Haskins is the backup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The other thing, injuries aside, if Big Ben plays, let's say it's all healthy. Well, not healthy because the Steelers are one of the most injury-prone, one of the most injured teams in the NFL, which is why I think this could be an upset. Even with Big Ben, TJ Watt's not playing this game. Their defense is still really banged up. I think Cam Hayward is even banged up as well. But that defensive front, the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive front versus the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line is going to tell the story of this game because Pittsburgh is ranked 29th in passing yards against, allowing 313.5 passing yards through the air. For against an offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. So I think that this is probably my favorite upset of the week that could potentially happen is the Cincinnati Bengals versus Pittsburgh Steelers. So the fans went Steelers. I'm going to go out on a limb, and take the Bengals. I think that this is a definite game where the Bengals can shock the world and beat the Steelers. They beat the Vikings in overtime. So I'm going to take the Bengals. The fans took the Steelers. This is the first game that we are split on. So, yeah. Let's talk about the next one. This is another game where I'm predicting an upset. I think that the Bears seriously can beat the Cleveland Browns here. And here's why. The Browns were toe-to-toe with the Texans until Tyrod Taylor got hurt. Okay? Baker Mayfield is the worst quarterback in the fourth quarter when the ball is in his hands. Okay? You know what to expect against the Browns. It's going to be handoffs and play action. That's it. They're not going to really take shots over the top. Odell Beckham, actually, so the update did just come in. Odell Beckham will be a game-time decision for this game. I'm not sure how much that's going to matter, but if the Bears can stop the run, and here's the kicker for this game, no pun intended. Justin Fields will be starting for the Bears, for Chicago this week. If I'm Matt Nagy, there is no reason for me to hold back anything. I want to see everything Justin Fields has to offer. I want to run every play we have designed specifically for Justin Fields that we would never run if we have Andy Dalton under center because the Browns don't have a game plan for it. You have the element of surprise, and Justin Fields is way more dynamic than Andy Dalton. Plus, it's going to open up RPO for David Montgomery. And say what you want about the Giants, all those runs where Daniel Jones goes 60, 40, 30, 80 yards and trips and falls, those are RPO plays because they don't expect it. With Justin Fields, who's a better athlete than Daniel Jones, why not? Why wouldn't you run that? And you have a great running back in David Montgomery. This is a game where I'm actually going to go ahead and to go against the fans, I'm going to take the Bears. Because if Justin Fields, the key to winning this game for the Bears, Justin Fields has to keep it close. That's it. Because if he can force the Browns to put the ball into Baker Mayfield's hands in the fourth quarter, the Bears have a very good shot at winning this game because Baker Mayfield will choke. He chokes like clockwork. Baker Mayfield, it leads the league of quarterbacks who have entered the league since 2018 in fourth quarter interceptions. Every team knows in order to beat the Browns, we just have to get the ball into Baker Mayfield's hands, and we have a shot. That's it. You can't let Nick Chubb run wild. You can't let Kareem Hunt run wild. You can't let the emergent now Demetric Felton run wild. And Jarvis Landry's on IR. Odell Beckham may play this game. So the Browns have no passing offense at all. And even if they did, Baker Mayfield would still choke. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Bears. The fans have taken the Browns. Let's go to the next game. We have the Baltimore Ravens at the Detroit Lions. The fans took the Ravens this game. I'm going to take the Ravens as well. Not too much to say here. The Lions are a fun team to watch. They're a fun team to root for. I don't think they're like the Ravens are hot right now. They just beat the Chiefs in a huge upset. It was one of the most probably a candidate for game of the year. Super happy for Lamar. Super happy for the Ravens. But there's not really much to say about this game. Dan Campbell, he's coaching this team to fight. They fight every single game. They fought against they almost came back against the 49ers, and they were in it against the Packers. The Packers are the biggest frauds in the NFL, but I don't have anything to say about this. The Ravens are going to win it. You guys took the Ravens. I'm taking the Ravens. Let's go to the next game. And this is a game that was actually the vote was really close. I don't think this game is going to be close at all. The fans, you guys took the Patriots. I'm also taking the Patriots. I don't think many people know this, but the Saints have the 32nd ranked passing offense, and the Patriots might not be the best defense in the NFL, but they are by far the best coached defense in the NFL. Like it's like not even close. And they're playing Jameis Winston. So if the Patriots can neutralize Alvin Kamara, which they do because they have a good chance of doing because they have a great pass rush and a great front defensive front. I don't think this game's going to be close. I don't see how the Saints are going to be able to move them all. And even though the Saints have a great defense, I think Mac Jones is just too efficient, take what's there. He's only averaging like 3.1 yards per attempt, which is really bad because he was a good deep ball passer in college. Not saying it was the best thing he had. It wasn't his best trait, but there's no reason for him not to be chucking the ball or at least taking some shots. So in this game, I think Damian Harris is going to struggle a little bit. Ramondre Stevenson might struggle a little bit if they play him. So it's going to be on Mac Jones' shoulders. Mac Jones needs to start throwing touchdowns. He hasn't thrown a touchdown yet through the first 2 weeks. But I'm taking the Patriots. You guys took the Patriots too. Let's go to the next game. And yeah, the Arizona Cardinals. You guys took the Cardinals. I took the Cardinals. I don't think that. I mean, how would the Jaguars even win? How would it happen? They don't run the ball. Urban Meyer refuses to give the ball to James Robinson. I don't know why. So I took the Cardinals. You guys took the Cardinals. Let's go to the next one. Washington football team versus the Buffalo Bills. And this is a game I kind of want to park it on for just a second. I just want to talk about Taylor Heineke for a second. So Taylor Heineke is a cool story. Everybody loves to root for the underdog. Everybody loves to, see the little guy upset the big guy. We wanted Taylor Heineke to upset the Bucs in that wild card game last year. Blah, 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 blah. We do, but let's not lose our minds here. It's still Taylor Heineke. He's still an undrafted player for a reason. He still is a journeyman player for a reason. He almost upset the Bucs because nobody knew he was going to come into the game. Because nobody knew that he was going to be able to run. Nobody knew any of that. Nobody knew who Taylor Heineke Taylor Heineke was studying for a final before that game. For college. He came out on Thursday night. He beat a bad Giants defense and looked good. But here's the difference between the Bills and Washington and the Giants. The Bills have a very good defense. They have Tre'Davious White, one of the best corners in football, who will be guarding Terry McLaurin. Also, the Washington football team, they don't have a wide receiver too. Curtis Samuel, their big free agency signing, quote unquote, on the IR. Logan Thomas is the only other passing option, and rookie De'Ami Brown. Taylor Heineke is a one-read quarterback. Everybody wanted to hate on Teddy Bridgewater for being a one-read quarterback or Daniel Jones for being a one-read quarterback. Taylor Heineke does this. Looking at Terry McLaurin. Tre'Davious White's going to be covering Terry McLaurin. Who's he going to throw the ball to? Oh, and by the way, the Bills just developed one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. We really think Taylor Heineke is going to come out here and play well because he's this Cinderella story that we all want to root for. Like, let's not let's not get too emotional about this. Like, Taylor Heineke is not, like, that's why if you missed the video on the channel, the start, sit, stock, sell, which is a video that we do every week where we talk about, for fantasy football, my favorite starts, sits, and then players I think you should stock up on and start selling. One of my sits was Terry McLaurin, because their offense is so one-dimensional. Washington's offense is so one-dimensional. And Antonio Gibson has been a huge letdown this season so far. So let's not lose our minds about Washington football team yet. They're also one of the biggest frauds in the NFL, because here's the other thing. Their defense, they didn't take a step. They're the same defense from last year. And everybody wanted to say, like, everyone wants to talk about how the Chargers are so good. And this is not saying that the Giants are better than the Chargers or anything about the Giants. It's about Washington's defense. Everybody says the Chargers are so good and they have this explosive offense, and Justin Herbert's the greatest, which I agree with all of that. They only put 17 points up on Washington. Okay? Then a worse offense in the New York Giants put 30 on them. This Washington defense is starting to become extremely overrated unless they get their stuff together. So, you guys took the Bills. The reason I went on that tangent is because there was a shocking amount of votes for Washington. I'm taking the Bills. But next game, Denver versus the New York Jets at Denver. This is the first game in the 4 o'clock window. I took Denver. You guys took Denver. I think this is going to be a horrible game for Zach Wilson and Corey Davis. They can't run the ball. I think Zach Wilson's probably going to throw another 4 interceptions. Like, I'm not kidding. I say that seriously. He should have thrown 4 interceptions against Carolina. And what I mean by should have is I went back and watched the tape, and I'm only counting games where a defender had the ball hit their hands or their body. So against the best secondary in football, I don't think it's going to be any better for Zach Wilson than it was last weekend. Because they also can't run the ball, so they're forced to throw the ball. So how is this going to be any different? But what I will say is this is going to be a great week for Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Tim Patrick, and Teddy Bridgewater. So if you got those guys, go ahead and start them. Next game, Raiders-Dolphins. You guys are taking the Raiders. I'm taking the Raiders. The thing is, this would be a much different game if Tua was playing, and whether you believe in Tua or not, he still does add a more dynamic element to this offense that they just don't have without him. And the Raiders are hot right now. They're super hot. And I kind of losing confidence in Miami's defense, because Miami was supposed to be a very well-coached defensive team and a very good defensive team, and they let the Bills drop 35 points on them. So if you're not keeping it to a low-scoring game, and now they're playing against the best passing offense in football in the Las Vegas Raiders, who are averaging, I think, 405 passing yards or something ridiculous, like 410 maybe passing yards, I think it's going to be a very tough game for Jacoby Brissett to even stay in. So I'm taking the Raiders. I will say this, though. I did tweet this out today on Pylon Camp Twitter. The Raiders are going to be the only team to start 3-0 and miss the playoffs if they beat Miami. I would put money on that, because if you missed my explanation, if you want to know my in-depth explanation, check out the podcast from this morning. But John Gruden is just a bad. I will never believe in John Gruden. He's a bad coach. And I know he won a Super Bowl, but he has a 39% win percentage in his career, and he's been in the league for a long time. He's a very bad coach. Next game, Seattle Seahawks versus Minnesota Vikings. I think this could be a candidate for Game of the Year, because I think it's going to be just an absolute no defense style game. You guys took the Seahawks. I'm going to take the Seahawks as well. I think this is going to be a monster game for Dalvin Cook if he plays. If he doesn't, Alexander Madison is a viable start in fantasy, but just not here or there. The Vikings have a horrible passing defense. I think they were ranked 26th. And they're allowing a ton of points. I don't know where they land in points allowed, but the Seahawks have the I think the 29th ranked rushing defense. So this is going to be a shootout game. I think that if you have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Russell Wilson, definitely start all of them. Same goes for Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook. You guys took the Seahawks. I'm going to take the Seahawks too. I don't think this is going to be an upset. I think the Vikings are going to fall to 0-3. But that's all I want to say about this game. It's going to be a really fun game to watch. This game. So, you guys took the Bucs. I don't know what to make of this game yet. I actually haven't made a decision on which team I think, so this decision is going to be live, or at the time of this recording. So here's what I'll say about each team, and then I'll kind of make my decision. The Buccaneers have the third best run defense in the entire NFL. I think that number's a little bit skewed because the first week they played the Dallas Cowboys didn't even try to run the ball on them. Dak threw 59 times, which is insane. And their defense has been struggling a little bit compared to what it should have been or was expected to be this season. Conversely, we have the Rams, who are a completely different team than anything the Bucs seen last year. Cam Akers isn't playing. Darrell Henderson is dealing with a cartilage injury with his ribs. But I don't think it's going to matter because I think if they're going to win this game, it's going to be because of Matthew Stafford. So you guys took the Bucs. I think I'm going to take the Rams here. The Rams are playing at home. The Bucs have been struggling a little bit. They don't look as polished as they're going to be at the end of the season when Tom Brady really gets on people. So I'm going to take the Rams here. I think in game one, because this is definitely going to be a rematch in the playoffs, I think game one, I think this is going to be an upset for the Rams. You guys took the Bucs. I'm going to take the Rams. I think it might come down to who could run the ball a little bit better. It's not going to be like a huge factor like, Leonard Fournette ran for 150 yards. Like, no, I think it's going to be whoever can, get their yards on first and second down and make it easier on third down. That's going to decide this game. And I definitely would take Sean McVay as a better coach than Bruce Arians. I think Bruce Arians is one of the most overrated coaches in the NFL. So I'm going to take the Rams. You guys are taking the Bucs. And, let's talk about the next game. This is the primetime game. The Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. So, you guys took the Packers, and foolishly, you guys took the Packers. I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think this game's going to be as close as it should have been. And the voting was close. I think it was like a 45-55 split, but the voting was close. You guys could get mad at the mouth breathers who voted for the Packers. But I think that this game is going to really expose how bad the Packers are. This Packers defense is bad. It is a very bad defensive unit. And it was exposed by Jameis Winston and Jared Goff. So now that they're playing, I'm not going to say even a great quarterback, but a better quarterback than Jameis Winston and Jared Goff in Jimmy Garoppolo, this is going to expose the Packers for how bad their defense is. And this is also the best defense the Packers have faced. The Saints' defense isn't anything special. It's good. It's not as good as it was last year, but it's not anything special. And the Lions' defense is horrible. It's one of the most injured defenses in the NFL, and it's just bad. Like, it's not anything special. And I think that the 49ers are going to be the most physical defense that this Packers offense has seen. In every level of defense, in the secondary and in up front. Because you have Nick Bosa, who's playing out of his mind. This Packers offensive line is still banged up. David Bakhtiari's not playing yet. I think on the defensive side of the ball, Zadarius Smith is still out. And you have Deebo Samuel, who's playing the best football of his career. Brandon Ayuk hopefully gets phased back into the offense this game. And hopefully the 49ers running back room isn't too banged up because Mostert's out for the season. Mitchell is dealing with a shoulder injury, and Sermon is dealing with a concussion, so I don't know who they're going to have running the ball, but I think Sermon and Mitchell are expected to play. But, yeah, I think that this is going to be a way closer game than people gave it credit for, especially or a way bigger blowout than people are giving it credit for. The only way it's close is if Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Aaron Jones carry this team like on their backs. But I just don't think they're going to be able to do that against the San Francisco 49ers defense. I think it's just too good of a unit. And they really popped off last week against the Lions. And Aaron Jones isn't going to be able to do that again. He had 4 touchdowns, I think. So I'm taking the Niners. You guys took the Packers. But let's talk about the last game, the Monday night game, which is an NFC East matchup. The Eagles at Dallas. You guys are taking the Cowboys. And I've gone back and forth on this of whether I want to take the Cowboys or not, but I think I'm going to take the Eagles. And here's why. The Cowboys, to me, have the most creative offense in the NFL, which is really impressive given how good their offense is, because they didn't need it. They did it. It wasn't of utmost importance for them to find that second gear for that offense. It's already good enough. If you put those two offenses on paper side by side, Cowboys already outclassed the Eagles without even doing anything special. But now they're doing things that are special. I think it's going to be very tough for the Eagles to keep up. However, the Eagles have impressed me defensively a lot. Every team has an identity. I just talked to you for about 45 seconds about how good the Cowboys offense is, and everybody knows that. Going into the season, I had no idea what to make of the Philadelphia Eagles. Didn't know what their identity was. And now I'm starting to see after week 1 and week 2, it is their defense. They kept the Niners to 17 points, and they kept the Falcons, who have a pretty good offense, to 3 points. So I think this is a very well-coached defensive unit. I think Zeke is going to struggle against them. It's really just going to come down to Dak. But on the offensive side of the ball, this Cowboys unit isn't good. It's been better than everybody anticipated. Micah Parsons is insane. But why I don't think he's going to matter much in this game is if you watch any tape of Micah Parsons, this was his biggest knock coming out of the draft, he's very easily misdirected. Nick Sirianni looks like he is a very good coach so far. This offense that he has designed for Jalen Hurts has finished last year with a 52% completion percentage, which is the worst among all 32 starting quarterbacks. They've designed it to be a dink and dump style offense. So Jalen Hurts can just take high percentage throws and get it to his skill players and let them do the rest. In an offense where you have Quez Watkins, Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Miles Sanders, and Kenny Gainwell, not the shiniest names, but if they're used correctly and you could move Micah Parsons out of this picture and Jalen Hurts can run, I think this could be an upset, especially since it's a division matchup, which are the king of upsets among any team of any matchups in the NFL. So I'm taking the Eagles. You guys take the Cowboys. But anyways, that's going to do it for our first weekly Pickems. Let me know if you like this segment. Let me know what you want to see different in the next episode. If you haven't already, go follow us on social media. On Instagram, we are at _Pylon_Cam. On Twitter, we are at Pylon_duh. And then check out our podcast, Fantasy on Tuesday, NFL coverage on Thursday, the Pylon Cam podcast. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give me a like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. We put out videos every week. We try to put out new content every day, every weekday. And if you didn't like what you heard, if you don't like me, if you think I'm an idiot, go ahead and dislike the video and still leave me a comment. Let me know you're out there. Tell me what I could do better. And then come back next week and see if I do better. And then if I don't, comment and tell me what I could do better the next week. And then come back the next week and tell me that I'm still an idiot. But that's going to do it for this video. That's going to do it for our first weekly Pickems. We'll see how you guys do. We'll see how I do. And remember, who is smarter? The average YouTube or Instagram user or Twitter user or NFL watcher or one Mikey boy? Find out next week. And that's going to do it for this video. See you guys next time. Peace.